In the in a it has a 20-foot floor. It's a little bitty travel trailer, and I live on. I visit uh, national forests and BLM land. I don't stay. I stay about 2 weeks or so in a place, and then I move. And I've been going. I went to Leadville, which is 10,000 feet, and I couldn't breathe.
What's Leadville?
Leadville, Colorado. It's a it's a beautiful little town. It has turquoise lake. It has this beautiful. It's a beautiful place in Colorado, uh, and but it's 10,000 feet elevation, and I couldn't breathe. And I tried what the doctor said, didn't do anything. And so I started trying breathing. So I learned Wim Hof, and I learned what Patrick McEwen teaches, and oxygen advantage, and and those and so that confronted all that tension too in my body. And I started going into cold water like Wim Hof does. So I do cold exposure, and so since 2020, I've been breathing and doing cold exposure. And cold exposure is important because uh, it demands the body use its glandular secretions in a certain way. It does vascular, your body shuts down and vascular restriction or constriction, and then the opposite, whatever that word is. And but in that process, it actually lowers cortisol, but it utilizes adrenaline in a proper way. So I couldn't do it the way they do it, but I do it for a while, and then I go back and do it some more. And and this last couple of years, it's become very important. Uh, and I think some of this is because I work to exhaustion every day that I need to do this. Uh,
Are
but
you are
but
you still taking 8 hydrocortisone?
no, during the so in 2019, right at the beginning of COVID, so late in 2019, early 2020, somewhere in there. No, I quit that. I quit in late 2018. I just quit cold quit. I cut back to about 5 milligram,
And
and then
then
I just quit because my body couldn't handle it.
sounds
It,
like you, yeah, sounds like you got detoxed enough so that your adrenals started working on their own.
well, now, yeah,
Mm.
now I recover like other people recover unless I really go. Like I do these volunteer things where I go 5 days of all day. You know, I look at my phone, it says I did 10,000 steps, but I was not walking. I was going in here and going out there and going over there and doing all this stuff.
How old are you right now? I mean,
73.
okay.
And I can, this winter I did cold walks. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I would go out when it was 28 degrees with a backpack of safety clothes and shorts and gloves and a hat and walk in the snow for 45 minutes every morning.
I'm impressed.
Well, I am too. I mean, and this wasn't walking. The Apple thing said I did 17 sets of stairs, and this was mountains. It was up and down. Uh, so it's pretty rigorous, and uh, and I'm excited about it. I started doing one sit up, and now I can do 50. I started doing 2 push-ups, and now I can do 3 sets of 30. Uh, my hands were weak, and they're getting stronger. And the doctors say you're not going to do that. Uh, so I'm supposed to be losing.
You're supposed to be
In
losing it.
my,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
supposed to be losing muscle mass. I'm supposed to
right.
be gaining weight. I'm supposed to be getting lethargic, and I don't want to do. I don't want to fix my trailer like other people my age. My friends stop wanting to mess with stuff, but uh, but I've been in cold water this morning. I've done breathing. I did a meditation, uh, and I also so I went on with chelation just to say that I couldn't, the stuff I'm doing, the breathing, the cold water, the the power therapy uh, didn't work when I was severely mercury toxic
Yeah.
and lead toxic, and I had to get I had to get it out uh, to get them to work. Uh, and like now, I was here. I've been here before a couple of times, but I can drive around without GPS. I
Really.
don't.
The brain
And
the brain repairs itself. They didn't used to think it did, but it does.
but I went to this one place I spent time, Crestone in Buena Vista, Colorado, and I've been going there, both of them, since 2019, and I found my way around. I use a GPS if I know I have to make a left turn I because I'm very safety conscious when I drive. Uh, but if but I don't need. I know where it is. I just don't want to go past it and have to turn around.
That
And
was that was a big symptom that set me off, when the neurologist that I was seeing, when I told him that I'd lost the maps in my head, that I couldn't find my way around. I come out of a parking lot, couldn't remember whether to turn left or turn right, even though I'd just come in. That was a big tip off for him. Yeah.
it's really hard to get out of Costco and big box parking lots with a trailer because the GPS doesn't. Because I don't know. I did The way I came in isn't the way I go out, and it's really difficult for me still. But now I can figure it out without chaos. A year ago, it made me anxious.
So even in just 1 year, you've made that progress.
I just finished a run. I, I, I've done about around a month the last 3 months, and long rounds, close to 190 some hours. But each round, I was in this. I went to my niece's master's graduation. She's over 50, but but I went to her master's graduation, and it left me in this group of all these educated, smart people, 99 percentile people. And I had interesting discussions with a guy he's a lecturing PhD professor in pharmaceutical cellular biology.
So
And I started right off with, so your science is the body as a machine, right? And he understood exactly what I was saying. And then he said, what's the word doctors give it when you heal?
it's a placebo effect.
Placebo effect. He started out, yeah, but we include the placebo effect in our results. We utilize it to get medicines approved. And and I said, so you believe the body is a machine, but you utilize the spirit in your results.
Yeah.
He understood perfectly what I was talking about. I mean, he teaches smart people, so I'm sure he gets this all the time. But it's really interesting that uh, it wasn't my body as a machine isn't what got me to survive and
Well,
thrive.
it's almost like, I mean, I was talking about about God's grace, even though I'm not, really, I'm not very religious that way. I mean, I meditate too and all that, but it just seems like it's God's grace. It's just like that to find this solution. I mean, how do you find it? It's just how are you led to it I mean, because it's not that obvious and not too many people know about it, you know.
So if you look around and you listen, Einstein got his ideas when he was, what do you call it? When you dream, when you're awake. Uh, and but he downloaded his ideas. So if you listen to what he says, Jung says stuff very similar. So a lot of the inventions, the cotton gin was invented in 5 different places in the world at the same time. The light bulb was invented, the electricity was invented. All these things were invented in more than one place at the same time. There's a collective consciousness, and
Yeah.
what we fail, what we fail in this world to teach is that each of us has access to it. And so we have limited access to it. And I, my recovery is my doctor helped me. The doctor helped me, but he lost his license because he told people to not take the COVID vaccine. And he knew how to treat them so they didn't need it if they got COVID, and they didn't get long COVID. He doesn't have patients that got long COVID because he understood what was going on, and he read the patent applications. But he lost his. He's older, and he formed a nonprofit. His business is going on, but
So he's okay.
yeah, he. This is a side story. He bought this. He's older. He's successful, right? And he bought this acres in a rural part of the county, and he built a clinic there. But he built his art studio, and it's the same size as the clinic. He's a metal. He works with
Oh boy.
metal sculpture. So his art studio is the same size as his medical clinic. That's something about him.
But
But
people who do welding, they get exposed to a lot of metals. I hope
well,
he's careful,
yeah,
I hope.
he's pretty smart. But uh, so, but everything that's worked for me is outside of the medical spectrum. Wim Hof went to a lab with doctors, with certified scientific research doctors in a university, and they injected him with E. coli virus, and he beat it right there on the spot. They had the machines on him. They've done this to thousands of people. They know how long the inflammation response takes to start, and it never started. And
Mm.
they said, well, that's fine, but can you repeat it? So he went out and he took 5 people and he trained them how to do that. And he brought them into the lab and they injected it in and they beat it. But medical science has no interest. This
No, that's the
this
thing.
Patrick McCowan teaches breathing, and Wim Hof teaches breathing. People with asthma stop having asthma attacks. People with COPD stop needing their medicines over and over and over and over. But it's not part of medicine. Medicine teaches you this 6-week class when you get COPD. And when you're done, you're done. It doesn't cure it. And so you can go on and on. Rolfing stops pain. People live with chronic pain, and there's all these Roffers around that stop the pain. It's people can't sleep. I can do Reiki and you'll sleep. I mean, it happens every time. When your energy gets balanced, you sleep.
But I mean, you said this yourself, if you're toxic, if you're really toxic, none of this stuff works.
Well, if you're really toxic, you have to address. You do have to address the problem.
You have to
And
get rid of that. Yeah.
but Andy Cutler isn't accepted into the medical community, and that's the foundation of my recovery.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. I mean, his stuff is allopathic, but nobody cares to find out about it. Yeah.
And but so I was really fundamental and really direct when Andy was on and I was on, and he seemed to people kept people would often say stuff about me and the way I commented and the way he commented because his comments were actually humorous.
Yes.
Mine were more cynical. Uh,
So
and
I've noticed that you've become a lot kinder over the last few years. What would you,
I've become much kinder to myself. But yeah, what, so when I went to this graduation thing and I was around these people, I, uh, I was able to have these conversations with these people and it was intimate. I could feel the intimacy of the conversation. So my much more of me was involved, so I could say more radical stuff and have it accepted because I was connected with the people and I wasn't challenging their being. I was challenging their intellect. Uh, and my intellect was being challenged. And I had these while I was doing that, I had the big picture of what I was talking about, the little picture within. It was it was very rewarding for me. It was it was and and I'm going to go on. I go on these uh, it's tapas acupuncture technique. Tapas Fleming is one of my teachers, and she's a power therapist facilitator, and she innovated this power therapy. And I've been uh, interacting with her for a couple of years, one on one and in groups, and she videotapes these groups and plays them back. And when I first went on there, it was like I had to force the words out. I had to force the words out, and they were uh,
you had trouble finding the words?
had trouble saying the words.
Oh, yeah.
And when I do speaking pieces with a on the New Warrior Training Adventures, I would experience pretty extreme fear, and now I don't have that. But now I have normal fear, and when I say a family secret, I feel scared, or uh, you know, I can feel my solar plexus are a little tight, so I can get more relaxed. Uh, but it is okay for me to speak and think and compile the words while you're watching me. And I've never been like that in my life.
You told me that you're noticing a difference with every round now. Is that happening?
Yeah, yeah. I'm still in the redistribution phase, uh, from a from a
From your last round?
from an 92 hour round
Yeah, yeah.
DMPS and ALA.
Okay.
But uh, but so I I needed to not do things that required decisions that impacted my life when I was on round or in redistribution for a long, long time,
Hmm.
because my thinking would be incomplete. And it was, it took a lot of energy. I don't know, but it was just incomplete. And now, uh, I I still can, on the third or fourth day, have trouble making the actual decision to do something.
The third or fourth day into the round.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Like
yeah.
like sort of procrastination is a big that's
Right. They
that's
call it
that's
procrastination.
that's
But
sort of like paralysis. Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
what I've noticed is it's not procrastination. It's an inability to make a decision.
Okay.
It's a Mercury symptom. Now, because it only happens, you can, I can tell,
It only
you know.
happens when you're getting that.
Well, it happens in a certain way. And the reason why I had to notice is because on the third or fourth day, if I sort of waste a day, not I waste a day by my mother's judgment, not necessarily my judgment. But the culture would say you didn't do anything, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand that.
I can say, well, I usually do this and this, and I didn't do it. But it's because because what I'm doing when I do the round is so beneficial to me that the value of the round has more value than the two or three things I didn't do.
Could have done. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and labeling it negatively isn't what's happening. It's a positive experience.
Sometimes doing nothing is supposed to be positive experience and good for you.
Well, I
It's
do that.
hard to do nothing. Yeah, it's like you have to learn how to do that.
I'm pretty good at that. Uh, and I enjoy it, but I also enjoy accomplishing tasks.
Yeah.
And uh,
Getting shit done. Yeah. Like I vacuumed the whole place just now. Very satisfying. Yeah.
yeah, and but on the forum, to go back to that, is that I what uh, what I found was that uh, a few people were kind to me, and some of them only once or twice. I didn't interact with them more often than that, but it was very, very valuable in my ability to continue.
We were kind to you on about what? Just the
When
way
I
that
was mercury, when I was when I was severely mercury toxic, when my brain didn't work, when my heart didn't work, when my body didn't work, people
in the form were kind.
were kind to me. They listened to me when I didn't make sense. They
Yeah.
didn't judge me. They
I
some
think
of
that
them,
the forum is kind of wonderful that way,
well,
often anyway.
and 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 yet, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but maybe I should say this, that when people come on and they're far out away like I was, it's hard to deal with them.
Of
It's
course it is.
hard.
Some people are
It,
mentally ill too, and it's very hard to deal with them. Yeah.
well, I was diagnosable in several ways.
Yeah.
You know, I met all the things for the, what do they call it, the boundary personality disorder,
Borderline personality just
borderline personality disorder. I meant the whole criteria for that.
every single one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in you can go on. There's bipolar. I could have got diagnosed 15 different ways. That's why I didn't want to go to therapist, because the diagnosis wouldn't help me. I've never been I've never been diagnosed with ADHD or neurodiversity either. And 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 I want to say I want to say this is that our culture uh, uh, is judgmental, and so we know pretty much for a fact that over 20% of the people are neurodiverse according to diagnosis. And then we call another 30% mentally ill for some diagnosis. And then the upper 5%, the really intelligent people, are totally blocked out of the system too, because we can't handle people that are different. But the really intelligent people, you'll never know when you're excluding them because they're smart enough not to respond to the slights and the ignorance and the exclusion. And so the people who say what is normal are actually a minority, but they have the power and privilege to label the rest of us as being different. And the truth is that humans are very diverse, just like birds and squirrels and everything else. We're very diverse. And the Puritans have passed on because they were too exclusive, and we're still following their precepts for what a good person is.
It's hard to get away from. Yeah, all that.
So,
Yeah, like the devil finds work for idle hands. That's a Puritan.
right. And
Yeah.
the truth, and yeah, and the one thing that's blaring to me is we that that being naked is a sin. And we were born naked, and what difference does it make after you die? And everything else doesn't wear clothes. What's wrong with our bodies? If you find our body shocking, then you need some help. That's I think that's that we have a lot of sexual deviancy that seems to stay in the news, and it's from repression. I mean, let us be mammals. We are.
Are indeed.
And anyhow, that's my preaching. But I do, I, I do. So, so, so the basis of my recovery is chelation and Andy's good work, and
Bless, yeah.
we don't have much good work on the end of chelation for people that are very, very toxic like me.
Yeah, because he didn't get that far because he died before we could, the people who had been at it for 10 years and stuff could really report. So we're kind of the
So,
forefront. Of course, for me, I found amalgam fragments like 10 years into it. So that really
well,
messed.
you're really tough. I'm really I'm impressed and inspired by you.
Oh, thank you. I don't feel tough
We,
all the time.
well, but look at what you do. I mean,
What do I do? Tell me.
we well, like me, you keep on going against all odds.
Yes, I keep going
You
against all odds. Yeah.
and you choose your life not by at least the United States cultural demands.
Yeah, that's true too. Yes. Yeah, I've always had a very unconventional kind of life, really. Well, it's because, you grow up being kind of Aspergery and what was it, neurodiverse and always an outsider. It kind of pushes you towards being outside of society.
But how many languages do you speak?
I speak English and French. I speak some German, and of course now I don't dare speak it because I think people would laugh at me. But I understand patois, Jamaican patois, very well now. Yeah, that's a whole
So
culture. Yeah.
yeah, so you grew up kind of culturally diverse too, didn't you?
Yeah, my father was a foreign service officer, so we changed country every 2 years, year and a half, maximum 4 years. And I always thought that the reason I was such a like a sort of like a misfit was because I was always arriving like the new kid I was always the new kid in school, but in retrospect, I think it was because I had a lot of Mercury, making me kind of like a person with Asperger's, kind of
Yeah,
weird, nerdy and weird.
but it's really interesting how uh, I vary from autistic people. Even I probably am autistic. The symptoms haven't gone away,
I try
but
to
yet,
reassure those kids who are saying you're gonna spoil my personality by, I don't want to chelate because I don't want to lose my magical autistic traits. And I say, don't worry, you won't lose the good stuff. You just lose, your indigestion and your insomnia and your anxiety disorder. But you'll still be pretty weird. Don't worry about it.
but
Yeah.
with the emotional healing, what I found is that people like us, our basic environment, the foundation. So all of us, everything we do is environment. Okay, it's either it's a it's that includes chemicals, nutrition, air, water, and emotional health and intellectual health. It's all environment. The what gets me to say this right now is my past environment, and the foundation of that environment is uh, is the time in the womb and before probably, and birth, and the first 4 years. And and so when we're born into an environment that requires us to react to a stimuli in a certain way, and we don't, we learn stuff that doesn't need to be learned. And it becomes the basis of our personality and our realities. So I was born cross-eyed,
I think
right?
that's a Mercury thing, I think.
Whether it is or not, when my parents and my doctor and my grandmother and my grandfather or whoever, my culture, my family culture, saw the crossed eyes that
We've lost you.
uh,
You're back? Yeah, you you
huh?
you went black, you disappeared for a little while there.
Oh, so I'll start again. When my family,
When
my
they told
grandparents, my parents, when they saw the crossed eyes, they had a visceral reaction to that. And the baby understands that reaction to be love. And that's the start of the foundation of how the baby interacts with people. And it goes on from there. When, when the when the person without depth perception is learning to walk, the teachers have to have a certain kind of patience, which is often covered up irritation instead of joy at the first. Understand what I'm saying? You've been a parent.
Yeah, yeah,
I've been a parent, and so all this stuff makes the environment. So when you add Mercury to that,
yeah.
every reaction that the baby has that's different from the expected reaction has a reaction from the parent, and that's our environment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's for the kids that are born with it. Um,
Well, and that's for the kids that are born autistic, is what I'm saying.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And so what the autistic community doesn't get often is that the power therapies, the the EMDR, the uh, TAPAS acupuncture technique, the emotional freedom technique, and 15 others
Yeah.
are very effective at healing that, and it changes one's outlook and makes the world a place where you can use what you have in a way that works for you better. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Hopefully those people discover some of those things. Hopefully they discover the chelation, which I think is the most foundational thing, really.
and I think that getting mercury toxicity and going through that is the same as growing up with people that hate you. It's post traumatic stress syndrome stuff. When you're sick and you try to get better, and then you think you get better, and then you find out you're sick again, and then you try another diet and you're doing better, and then you're worse. And that happened to me all through it.
Me
I
too.
would think,
Yeah.
oh, I healed this, now I'm better. Oh, I
And
can do
then,
this
man,
now, and then I'm
nothing
not.
ever sticks. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it kept going on and going on, and I still don't trust my gains until I test them.
But I often ask people if the whole, I tell this story about when I was a student in Paris, and I had to I went to a class taught by a Jesuit priest, and one of the things he said when I was like 18 or something, he get, like suffering is the greatest gift that God has given mankind. And at 18, I was going, yeah, right, that's not true. But in retrospect, I wonder if it isn't. And I often ask people if this experience of going through this poisoning gave any gifts, and I think it does. It certainly
So
makes me more tolerant of people because, like I see people out there in public, and other people would be saying, they don't work and they don't do anything. They should pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And I look at them and I think, well, maybe they can't, You know, I'm a lot more tolerant than than some people because I know what it's like not to be able to, to look fine, but not to be able to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I always looked pretty good. I because I was lean and you know I looked younger than I was. But what so because of the suffering that last dark period I went through in 1920 21 was pretty severe, and it was hard to get out of it. Uh, and I went to these. I went to the MKP. I went to their some of their services and
What's
Mankind
the
Project,
Mankind Project? I don't know what
the
that
the,
is.
the New Warrior Training Adventure. It's an initiation for men, but it's a men's organization. So I live alone. So I need uh, I have a human need for intimacy, right? And and I might be able to have fun on a date now, but I haven't. Uh, so uh, so I get some intimacy. I'll be with family in a little bit, and I get some intimacy there, and I got some with my niece. But when I go to these weekends, it's a safe place to have your heart open and to tell the truth and to uh, take risks uh, and not be shamed.
Not be
You
shamed.
know,
Yes, yeah.
not be shamed, and uh, and to trust. And so, uh, but like, so this is a real story. So I just did one in the middle of April, and I'd done a round, and my brain was working better than ever, right? But I told you my limits are with people. The more and there's 100 men here, and in this retreat center, and uh, and in the first day, I'm remembering names and I'm remembering everybody's story. And this is such a pleasure because I haven't been able to, limit two or three, and so I know 30 of these men, and I've probably met a few more. but I don't remember. So as the weekend goes on, I ingested some cilantro in some food,
What
and
happened?
I had told the person preparing the food that I couldn't eat cilantro, but they served some Mexican food, and I didn't go personally check, and I know better, so it's my fault. But I ingested some cilantro, and this isn't what's on my mind, right? And so that night I didn't sleep, and then so the weekend started for me on Thursday morning, and so Saturday about noon, I start getting stuff wrong. I start getting people's names wrong and the stories wrong, and and it's and by Sunday I'm just wrong. I and I and it was horrible and humiliating to me and all that stuff, and and I didn't know what happened, you know, and I just figured it out. So it's real easy. Uh, so I did a round after that, and then I went to another thing with people, and I did great. So so then I started another adventure, and I really inside it was like, no, I don't want to do that, but I want to do that. That's what I'm going to do. And I found I had to do some emotional healing, but uh, but it's humiliating, you know, on one sense to have mercury toxicity because
Yeah.
everybody thinks that they just assume I'm old. I have Alzheimer's or something.
Gosh, yeah, I recently had that, the poor old thing, the dementia, yeah. I mean, if I get a relapse, because I had a bad relapse after I got the amalgam flex out, like everything went wrong, and I got a lot of candida and problems like that, which affected my cognition.
Right.
And, like I was in the parking lot of the supermarket, and I came out and I thought it was my car, and I opened the back door to put some stuff in the seat, and it wasn't my car, and there was a strange woman in the front seat. And I was like, I know she just thought that I was a poor old thing with dementia. I was just so completely out of it. But fortunately, it didn't last very long, and I was able to, get back my, you know, I treated symptoms and I recovered from that. So I'm better. It was a tough
but but
winter though, boy. Tell me.
but in truth that's a victory because I did 2 days. I did great, and I was confident, and that's why I didn't catch the cilantro, you
Yeah.
know, is because I was just confident. And it upset my stomach, but I didn't think it would affect my brain because normally when I get a little, it just messes up my digestion like a Theo,
Yeah, it
you
was
know.
probably the stress, it sounds like it was a lot of stress there because you just like normal, even good stress on top of getting exposed to the
A
sun.
lot of a
Yeah.
lot of a lot of energy.
Yeah, yeah.
It was maxing out my adrenals and my
Yeah, so
and
you
and all that stuff.
killed your cognition. Well, we've been talking quite a long time now.
Yeah,
Um,
nobody's going to watch it this long.
they might, people do watch long stuff. Um, I think that you've really come from it's a good story because people like those, like come from totally messed up to really functioning again. People like the rags to riches story. People like
I
that.
was I was drooling. I mean, I couldn't eat without messing up my shirts. I couldn't tie my shoes. I could. It
Please
was
tie
it
your
was
shoe down.
so it was I couldn't see
Yeah.
the it's I couldn't hear either. My brain didn't have enough power to to interpret the sound or the sights. And
Wow.
in and now I can't see and hear because of other reasons, but I can figure it out.
It's getting old.
Well, my brain processes
Your
so much
brain
better.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, and I and so the question is, can I heal autism symptoms if I keep going? Can I become a 99 percentile intellect like my genetic background says I could be?
I don't know. I'm sure curious to find out.
And how
I
long
mean,
do
you're
I keep?
dealing with entropy. When you get into your 70s, you're also got the entropy of getting old is part of it.
I'm working on healing that. I
You're
think
not going
it.
to get old age is not going to get you.
No, that's not what I mean. But our DNA is capable of supporting our body for 120 years, and my goal is to live until I die. To
Yeah, I like that. Yes.
is to not believe a lot of what we do. You don't believe it because you're older than I am, and you seem to be doing fine with even with all the stresses and the mercury toxicity. You're pretty healthy, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean I went through healthcare hell this winter, but I seem to be bouncing back.
I went through it last summer. I had a horrible time, but
Yeah.
the doctors didn't help me. But I used
Oh, I had
I
a
use I use the healing methods I've learned, and my body's gotten better
yeah.
for things that aren't supposed to ever heal.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And part of it is getting the mercury out.
Yeah, a lot of that. Well, let's see what happens with me. I don't know what's going to happen. I think that yeah. I mean, because I just had that just like I got a mold, the mold. I moved into this mobile home here where I live and it was full of mold that was there. And then I had amalgam flex. That all happened at once, yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
It was a little hard, yeah. But yeah,
I
I
got I
pretty good.
had I had a medical provider give me staph infection
Oh yeah. That,
right after I had
that happened.
another
That
one gave
happened.
me one of them gave me the wrong drug, the opposite drug they were supposed to give me,
Oh,
and
Jesus.
it made everything really bad. And then I had a medical test give me staph infection.
Well, we are tough, that's for sure. So, is there anything you'd like to, is there any comments you'd like to make before we close with this interview?
I just like to say if anybody watched it this long, they're persistent enough to make it through ACC, and and Re- Rebecca is a great example, and I'm a great example of it's worth it. You know, I,
Yeah.
I went down by the river this morning to take a cold dip and looked at the nature and felt gratitude flowing out of my chest. And it's just, it's a wonderful way to start a day. And I'll volunteer this afternoon helping some other people through something. And uh, it's a good thing. I am, I, the other thing is I'm studying the tapas acupressure technique, and I'm doing sample. I do as a student. I have to do so many free sessions, and I do those now. And by this time next year, I'll be a practitioner because people can heal,
Yes, they
and
can.
mercury toxic people need to heal their emotions as soon as they get enough mercury out, and it
As
makes
soon as they
life.
get enough mercury out that it's not, Andy used to say they're constantly getting re-traumatized if they got the
But
mercury in them. Yeah.
but one can heal allergies and
Oh, yeah.
phobias
Oh, yeah. All those
all,
things. Yeah.
uh, uh, probably while you're mercury toxic. It might take 2 sessions instead of one, uh, but it can make everything better. It helped me. I did long COVID, and I healed a lot of my the need to do things 4 or 5 times. Now when I do things over, it's because I want to. I just want to get it. I want to get it done, and I am happy when I get it done, not because I have to. So, uh, so anyhow, life is good.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna close this on that note. that life is good. Yeah.